So last spring, I covered the Deck Builder's Toolkit for Shadows over Innistrad, and it turns out it's actually the most viewed video on my channel. To be honest, I actually like the product as it gives new players the opportunity to actually learn the game of Magic while using some of Magic's most iconic cards and some new favorites. Although I did say that it probably wouldn't make any new player an all-star overnight, it does do its job very well. While most Magic players, or players in general, have been used to the cycle of one toolkit being released a year with the annual core set, for some reason we got a shock and there's apparently a toolkit for Kaladesh. Now, I'm not really sure why this is. Maybe Wizards thinks that these things sell very well, or maybe they just want more money. But to be honest, I should probably do you all a favor and find out if whether or not these toolkits are any different from, well, the last one I reviewed last spring. Today we're going to be opening one of these up and finding out if it's really any different from any previous toolkit, since there is no core set anymore, and there likely will be different cards in it, considering this is a new set, and all the old core set cards and cards from the Tarkir block have moved out of standard. For 20 bucks, you do get a lot of cards for a toolkit, but like I say, this is very different, and like I say, this could just be a ploy that Wizards is doing just to make more money. Anyway, let's get started and open up this toolkit and find out the truth behind its meaning. So this is the new Kaladesh toolkit. Like I say, it looks very similar to the last toolkit I reviewed, which I'll send a link in the description below. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about the packaging because it's pretty much identical, so let's just dive right into it. I'll let you sit back and relax as I unwrap this thing. So it looks a lot just like most of the other Kaladesh products, the art with Shahili. And we are going to have a nice box here. The boxes for these things are pretty nice, and this is actually pretty sweet. I do like the colors of the Kaladesh expansion. And we are going to open that up and see what's inside. This is, like I said, this is what's going to be different. There's probably going to be a few curveballs here that the other toolkit did not produce. And it looks really darn similar. Like I say, more cardboard. Just what I always wanted. Okay, well we have some Kaladesh packs. There's a couple other packs here. They look like maybe Eldritch Moon, I think? Yeah, Eldritch Moon. And Eldritch Moon and Shadows. We'll open these later, but now let's dig in through the assorted commons, or randomly assorted commons and uncommons. And maybe even rares. There were a couple rares. We'll see if those rares are still playable or still allowed in standard. I'm sure every card in this box will be allowed in standard. You know, seeing the same stuff in the last Fat Pack that you did the old ones, kind of disheartening, especially considering we've been waiting over a 6-month period to get a new one. It's you kind of would hope for something different, especially if you're looking to expand your collection if you got one before. They'll probably be the same 5 rares that we had before, which I'm not too thrilled about, but we'll see. But there should be some new goodies, hopefully. Honestly, I'm not really sure why they're keeping these cards around. Just so you know, these 5 rares, there's actually more rares in here. It's going to be... Let's see if I get this right. Aegis Angel. Next card should be Sphinx of Magosi. Next card should be Nightmare. Next card should be Shivering Dragon. Next card should be, what's that card called? It's my memory's a little fuzzy. It's the thing from Avacyn Restored that can make a lot of, that basically gives you a card every time you cast a creature spell. Soul of the Harvest, yeah, that's the guy. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing, especially if you've gotten these 5 before. So if you have gotten a toolkit in the past, probably not best to purchase another one again, especially if you want to avoid these cards. Let's go for the rest. We have the classic Sarah Angel, as we had before. This is new, the Kaladesh cards, the White Vampire Nighthawk, marked with Honor. A lot of the, like I say, the cards with the old Corset logo are actually legal in standard. Thanks to Narden9, who pointed that out in the last toolkit video. So if you open one of these and think, oh, my card isn't allowed to be played in standard, you're actually wrong. You can actually play them in standard. This toolkit does offer some new things. It's mostly just a Shadows block and Kaladesh block. We're getting some decent stuff. Like I say, there's some iconic cards. Cards that are fairly solid, actually. I feel like if you were to try to jump into Standard or try to make a Standard, you could probably make a decent deck, although it probably wouldn't be the most competitive deck. I think it would still be good for a first attempt. And this is only one pack. I'm sure there's more cards in the obviously there are more cards in the toolkit that are there, and we'll be surprised to see what we get. Some decent stuff overall, especially for a newer player. Like I say, there's nothing of super high def value, but it's still pretty good stuff if you're starting out. Opening our next batch of commons, we are going to hopefully be getting some new stuff in here. I see the assembly worker from Kaladesh. Seems pretty rad for a start. Cinder Barons, this is going into Battle for Zendikar block with some nice dual lands. The come and play tap dual lands, which, like I say, if you're starting out, are pretty darn awesome. Great for your first decks, your first constructed decks, and for any casual EDH builds you may have starting out. Not much has changed, but still good. Here we're going into basic lands, so that's not too exciting. I think we have even more basic lands than this, so you'll never run out of basic lands. And this is our last pack of actual spells, or non-land cards. There could be some lands in here by surprise. I mean, some things did surprise me in that last one I opened. Prophetic Prism's nice. Drift Spoon, Veteran Cathar, Murderer's Axe, Hamlet Captain. Yeah, these are just random assorted commons and uncommons that you can use. Hey, got a lot of Prophetic Prism, which is nice. Prophetic Prism I think is a sweet card, but like I say, and nothing in this deck is super over the top or extreme. It's just nice cards that are powerful, but are also good for new players to grasp the game. And overall, I think it will be great for players to learn the basic mechanics and get started. And ultimately, you'll, like I say, you'll have a lot of cards to play with all throughout your career. Cheers. Alright. We got one unruly mob here. Pieces of the puzzle. I remember opening these cards as from their packs as if it were yesterday when I opened all the Shadows over Innistrad packs I opened on my channel. Trying to explore, Expensive Armor State, Insolent in it. Hey, a Lightning Axe, that's a nice one. Pick the Brain. Ring Fiend, and our rare, or hopefully first rare, is the Silver Fur Partisan, which turned out wasn't as hype as it turned out to be, but I think it could be useful for something if you love wolves. And we have a flip. We have a Hinterland Logger, which is nothing too special. Eldritch Moon. On to Eldritch Moon. Guardian Priests. Boon Femrakul. Take inventory. Wolfkin Bond. Succumb to Temptation. Bloodbriar. Faithbearer Paladin. Convolute. Wrath Reaver. Unsubstantiate. Here's Geist of the Lonely Vigil. Geist of the Archives. Our rare is Identity Thief, which is another card that is not as hyped as it was meant out to be. I believe we have a flip here. A Lumwald Captive, which is a nice little ramping creature. And our anything else? No, we don't have any more foils or flips or anything like that. Do have a spooky Eldrazi Horror. And now on to Kaladesh. Here's a turtle. Gremlin. Let's see, Hawk. Wingsmith. Malphus Squad. I keep thinking that says Misfit Squad. Appetite for the Unnatural. Dwarf wearing a giant gauntlet. Robot. Tezzeret's Ambition. Puzzle knot. Hey, look, it's upside down. This means something special about this pack. It's the Whirler Virtuoso, which is upside down. The Weaponscraft Enthusiast, Snare Thopter, and our rare Kabam. Yeah, I mean, nothing super special, but I mean, if you can manage to keep sacrificing an artifact over and over, it could be good. And we have no foil. Servo, though. Last pack. Nimble Innovator. Spontaneous Artist. Built to last. Really bad unsummon. Monkey Cat. Club Security. Classic reprint, but we can't seem to get a good reprint of any rares. Torch Gauntlet. Doomed Operative. Another dwarf with a gauntlet. The Iron League Steed. Essence Extraction, aka really bad Lightning Helix. Fairground Trumpeter, and our rare Be Bombastic. Dubious Challenge. That's not that great. Yeah, those packs were completely lackluster. My apologies. So overall, that toolkit was very similar to the last one we opened. It has a lot of the same cards, with the addition of the new Kaladesh ones. Final verdict, if you've started Magic this year and got a toolkit before, or you've just been playing Magic for a really long time, this probably isn't worth it. You probably are better off just buying the individual cards, or drafting, or doing whatever you do to get the cards that you need. However, if you know someone who is new, either one of these toolkits will be fine. They'll do the trick, and they'll be able to teach the new player how to get a grasp of the game and give them cards that they'll likely use for a very good portion of their career. Personally, I'm kind of upset that Wizards hasn't allowed toolkits sealed to be kind of a thing. That seems like it could be a very, very popular format, considering it would give players a much bigger pool than sealed deck and even draft, and allow players to make much better decisions and give players a lot more cards. I'm going to just give this one a point lower than the last toolkit I reviewed, just because it's not that much different, and because Wizards is just a little bit greedy. Thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already, please feel free to like and subscribe, as everyone deserves to have the knowledge of Magic the Gathering with them, and doing so will help get this and all the other videos on my channel out there. My name is Spectre, and I'll see you all next time.